What's going on, everyone? Bran here from Bloody Breakdown, and I'm about to give you my review of Scream 6. Stay tuned. It's something different. So what's up, everyone? It's been a long time coming, especially here at the channel. I've been covering Scream 6. Hell, I covered Scream 5. Pretty much all the important news coming out. So it finally happened. 14 months later, after the release of Scream 5, we now have Scream 6. I'm sure a lot of us have already seen it, but that being said, I want everyone to know going into this thing, this is going to be a totally spoiler-free review. Just going to talk about the things that really matter here, keep all the spoilers completely off of it. So I see no reason why we should stall any longer. I'm super excited. I want to talk about what I thought, and definitely want to hear from all of you what you thought in the comment section down below. So let's jump right in and talk about Scream 6, because even though the line may have not appeared in the film, it is very much so something different. So let's talk about the cast first and foremost. Overall, I felt the cast performances were a pretty stellar improvement over the previous entry. Not necessarily that I felt like the performances in the last entry were bad, just looking at the two via comparison. And to be a little bit more specific, Melissa Barrera, I know she got a lot of shit as the new final girl in Scream 5. A lot of people didn't think her performance was up to par. Obviously, I didn't think it was the greatest thing in the world I'd ever seen. However, I didn't really have the animosity a lot of people had toward her over that performance. I'll say this, in Scream 6, she is totally redeemed herself of any and all criticisms I believe that she incurred throughout Scream 5. Even most of the Sam haters that I have seen on Twitter and various platforms over the last 14 months seem to even agree that this is definitely a standout performance for her. She does just that. She stands out, and she redeems, like I said, all the criticisms that I've seen her face through the release of Scream 5. Great cast, old and new alike. I really felt like we got to see a whole new side and a lot more of the surviving characters, the quote-unquote core four. And the new characters as well are very interesting. As much as the new entries that you kind of feel are just going to be fodder can be, I felt like they were a great addition to the cast. The characters just overall seem more fleshed out. They have more sensible motivations, and there is believable character growth, in my opinion, in this film. Once again, not to be too comparative to Scream 5, but I felt like those were some improvements over Scream 5, and I really enjoyed Part 5 14 months ago personally. Also, there's some really nice set pieces in this thing, just some stunning visuals, especially with utilizing Ghostface, the mask, the robe, a lot of the imagery we saw coming out during promotion of this film, some of those just amazing images of Ghostface and things that just really were stunning on film. And once again, to the score. Brian Tyler, I believe his name is, who did a lot of Fast and the Furious scores, which made me go, ugh, last year when he was coming on board for 5. Also, you know, taking over from Marco Beltrami is an insurmountable odd, no matter who you are. But I think he's done an incredible job thus far. I really enjoyed hearing his take on some of the older Scream score tunes, so that was really incredible. Really enjoyed that. Speaking of, there's really still such a respect for what came before in this movie, just like the last installment. But we kept hearing that, you know, the new guys here, Radio Silence, were going to be taking things in a new direction. The last movie was kind of honoring what came before. This one was going to be more of them. They were going to be, you know, behind this through and through. But even with that being the case, and I do believe that is the case, there's just so much love for the franchise. It definitely shows. I call this movie the Cadbury Bunny because there are Easter eggs falling out of its ass. And just one of the many reasons it has so much good rewatch value, because you can go back time and time again and catch things you missed, whether it be who eventually becomes Ghostface, whether it be some Easter eggs, you name it. The movie's got incredible rewatch value. This is also a much more chaotic Scream than I recall in quite some time, maybe even since Scream 2. A very chaotic Scream movie. It's giving Halloween Kills vibes, minus annoying chants of Evil Must Die, or Evil Dies Tonight. That's kind of replaced by Core 4, I guess, in a manner of speaking. But you'll see when you see the film. But yes, very gory, very incredibly tense. And it looks to me like, in a manner of speaking, they are kind of following the template of the original Scream trilogy and David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy to a degree. So it is very interesting to see some of these elements melding together. I mean, the Scream franchise is no stranger to following a template left by Halloween. So I don't want to hear anyone have anything to say about that. Ghostface just never fails to be intimidating here. I mean, he can literally be anywhere, any place, anytime. Very ballsy, very violent this time around. Dude has zero chill. Just like you saw in the trailer, it's every bit as true, even more so when you see the film. There's just several twists and turns in this one. Normally that's something reserved for the third act of a Scream film, but I'm talking about literally from the first scene in this film. It keeps you on your toes with those twists and turns. Even if you're an obsessed Scream fanatic like myself, you'll definitely be on the edge of your seat wondering what's going to happen next. Now, I'm not saying the entire film is totally unpredictable. There are a few things a Scream obsessed fanatic like myself was able to deduce going in or watching the film. But even so, even with that being said, there are things happening in this one that you'll probably never see coming. And speaking of, I think this is probably the most unique Scream. The formula is there to make it feel like a Scream film, but it's different enough and adds enough new elements to not only justify its existence, but to make this entry stand out as, in my opinion, the best installment since the OG trilogy. And if you know anything about me and my thoughts on the Scream franchise, nothing, and I mean nothing, tops the OG trilogy of Scream 1, 2, and 3. So for me to say that this film is the closest that, in my opinion, that they've ever gotten to touching the magic of the original 3 Scream films, that's saying something coming from me. So please believe so. Even if you're not a fan of Scream 3, which I totally get, I totally understand, you know, it really is one of the best Scream films in a now ever-growing franchise. So, you know, other than a few flaws in the first and third acts, nothing major in my opinion, I think this thing is a great time for fans of the franchise or even just casual audiences. I think either of those groups could have a seat here and really enjoy what they're seeing out of this film. So for me, I would definitely recommend going to check it out. I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars. Like I said, one of the better Scream films out there. And just a really good time, even if you're not a Scream fan, even if you're, you know, not someone who's a thrill-seeking horror fan. It's just a really good time. It's loaded with twists and turns, loaded with Easter eggs for the fans. And after all, as the trailer said, it's something different. And it really is, for better or for worse. Personally, me, I say for better. But let me know what you all think down below. Keep it spoiler-free. Let me know what you all thought about Scream 6. Give me a like on your way out. Check the description section. You'll see a couple of links to follow me or support the channel. And yeah, with that said, I'm Brandon from Bloody Breakdown, and that was my Bloody Breakdown, my review of Scream 6.